Well, no, I think this is a good alternative, as Minister Sorensen pointed out. The two plans that exist now, the defined benefit and defined contribution plans, each have their advantages and disadvantages, and this is an opportunity to provide greater assurance, but also to protect companies that may, in certain circumstances, find themselves in a more difficult situation. Well, these are two totally different issues, really, although they both relate to pensions. We have said many times that we don't think that the current economic situation in Canada and around the world merits an additional cost to employers. This is not the time to create additional costs for Canadian companies, and we are concerned about the impact on the economy and on jobs. Well, you know, I can't comment on Northern Gateway. The decision will be made by the government in mid-June. The Keystone XL project I've talked about a lot, and we've done everything we can and will continue to advocate for it, because it's a project which is good for Canadian jobs, good for the Canadian economy, as it is for the United States. We will be introducing new safety measures related to pipelines and tanker transportation, and our goal is world-class safety standards for the transport of our resources, be it by rail, by pipeline, or by tanker. The Keystone decision was political, and you know, as I said, the strong majority of Americans are in favor. Legislators there are in favor at the state and federal level. The project has been vetted by regulators both in Canada and the United States. The State Department was very clear this would not create additional significant environmental issues. In fact, they said that this pipeline would be safer than existing pipelines, which isn't surprising because technology keeps improving. So everything is in place for a positive national interest determination, but politics intervene. Well, we've advocated for it. You know, if we hadn't, then fewer facts would have been presented, and we wouldn't have. You know, it's inconceivable that we would not be telling our partners that this is a project of importance to Canada. That's not what any responsible government would do, and we've done it in a respectful way. And we're convinced at the end of the day there will be approval, but it's taking a lot longer than we'd hoped. Canadians understand that the Senate needs to be reformed, and we will look at what legal action we can take in the light of the decision. The first point to make in respect to the temporary workers program is that we will not compromise on our first objective, which is to create jobs for Canadians. So Canadians are first, and on that there's no compromise. But because there are regional and sectoral shortages, particularly in the skilled labor category, it's been to the benefit of Canada to bring in foreign workers, but the companies that bring them in have to comply with the law. And the Minister, Jason Kenney, is the one taking care of this file.
Can you talk just a little bit, you mentioned in your speech, what was sort of the general reaction of Premier Hancock and Finance Minister Horner on the pitch around the financial regulator? You said you didn't entirely convince them, so what was can you provide a little more detail and sort of what the nature?
I mean, I don't want to get into all the these private conversations, but you know that Minister Horner had proposed an alternative. We discussed that. We discussed the federal initiative, which we believe is in the national interest. and I've articulated the reasons why. Canada is the only developed country in the world without a regulator for the entire country. It creates a deficiency. It can impact negatively on enforcement and the oversight of systemic risk and our international reputation. So we continue to believe that it would be not only in the national interest, but in the interest of each of the provinces to participate. But it is their right. It's their decision. And those who decide not to join in will, of course, have an opportunity to regulate, have a collaborative relationship with a new regulator.
How much of this is